Protect your home with dependable roof repair and service. GarciaDidMyRoof.com.
WTGL and HD1 Baton Rouge.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day is on the air.
Presented by Super Chevy, your local Super Chevy dealers.
It's time to talk LSU football on the flagship home of the Tigers. Call 225-499-9898. It's Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Now, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, here's Charles Hannegriff and Richard Dixon.
Demolished and embarrassed. Alabama 42 and LSU 13. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Eagle 98.1 Game Day. I'm Charles Hannegriff along with Richard Dixon. Friends, I got to tell you, I've been at this a while. It's pretty much, the way that we do this show. We talk about how the game unfolded. We talk about the key plays in the game. We talk about some of the things we might have done differently. We talk about matchups. We talk about the external factors, whether it be the crowd or the weather or an injury or whatever. And then we take some calls and we get your opinion. I could go through that format tonight. Works. Like I said, been at this a while. But it ain't there. It ain't there tonight. There's no use in doing that. Because what I saw tonight was one of the more shocking outcomes since I've been doing this. I like to feel like I have a pretty good pulse on the team. We watch them, from the beginning of August all the way through in spring, and we talk to people. We watch that. I feel like I'm prepared for most outcomes, and it can be in a wide range. But I wasn't prepared for what I saw tonight. Because what I saw tonight, and I'm not wild about hyperbole. I don't like sitting next to the guy at the basketball game who 16 whistles in a row says that's the worst call I've ever seen in my life. Okay? Doesn't do anything for me. It kind of loses its effect after a while. But what I saw tonight was the most unprepared football team, not just of the Brian Kelly era, but since I've been doing this, I don't know that I've seen a team that was more bewildered. Now, understand what I'm saying here. I've seen LSU teams that were out-talented, okay? I lived through the 90s, man. I watched Curly Hallman's team play Steve Spurrier's team. I know what happens when you're outmanned. I've seen them get out-schemed. I lived through the Les Miles era. Sorry, Rich. Okay, there were times. This one tops it. There were times where Alabama knew what was coming. All right, I've seen games where, look, this was just a terrible matchup. What they do well, you don't do well. I've seen some routes. I've seen teams come out flat, but I have never seen a team. For a game of this magnitude, not the hell with the game of this magnitude. I've never seen an LSU team, period, come out looking as the only word I can come up with is bewildered. They looked like they got together at about 4 o'clock this afternoon and said, hey, let's go over to the football stadium and see if we can play a game. I made one post during the game, which is one more than I usually make. And the post was that they looked bewildered. And honestly, we get this on post-game shows. Like I said, for all of the calls we've taken over the years, you get the, what the hell they been practicing out there?
I don't know.
I honestly watched this team tonight, and if you told me they didn't practice at all the last 2 weeks, I would have believed you. And Brian Kelly used those exact words in the postgame an hour and a half later. I've never seen a group come out more ill-prepared to play a football game. I really haven't. They looked like they didn't know whether a football was blown up or stuffed. It was like they had never considered the idea that Jalen Milroe might beat him with his feet, even though It was overwhelming evidence to suggest that you could have looked at last year's game. You could have looked at the game 2 weeks ago. Those were prime examples of how a running quarterback demolished you. Yet there seemed to be genuine astonishment at some of the plays that they looked at. Offensively, you had no running game again, save for one big run at the beginning. You had a quarterback that panicked on a number of occasions. You got crushed in the trenches on both sides. You had everything lined up for you. Big-time opponent, big-time atmosphere, good weather, the whole thing. Tiger Stadium at its best. And you went out there and did that. I'll be honest with you. My confidence in Brian Kelly is rattled, and I'm not trying to get into big picture and all that stuff. He's a coach. He's been an excellent coach for a long time. He's won a bunch of games. But if your response to the second half at Texas A&M, with Alabama coming here, with everything that is on the line, if that was your response, then my confidence in your ability to prepare a football team to play in a big game is rattled. Because that was a disgusting performance. It was embarrassing is another word that gets overused. Oh, they got beat by 2 touchdowns. They were embarrassed. No, they just got beat. Okay, sometimes that happens.
No, I'm embarrassed.
Okay, well, no. Tonight, embarrassed is it's a strong word, and it absolutely applies here tonight. I was actually at times just bewildered myself of what I was watching, Rich. And so I can tell you about a face mask penalty that cost him, or a holding penalty that cost him.
I don't want to hear another person talk about the penalties, because I got on Twitter today, whatever it is, X, and the whole first half, they're like, oh, that was a targeting, or that was a penalty. Look, we played like absolute dog crap tonight. I mean, it was god-awful. I was really trying to be calm. I was trying to settle down before I got here. But I was embarrassed as an LSU football player tonight. That was the most unprepared team I've ever seen, the most unenthusiastic team I've seen on that field. I mean, Garrett Nussmeier's played some good football here, but his last 6 quarters has been as bad as we've seen as a quarterback when you make these situations. And then when you smile after you throw your second interception in a bad situation, it makes me so mad, because we can sit here and dog trash the defense all day long, but 5 of the last 7 touchdowns scored on LSU is because the offense put them in a terrible position. I mean, Nussmeier's giving them the ball 3 times against A&M on the plus side of the field. He does it again tonight. It's so frustrating, because I get what everybody's saying. Yes, Milroe rushed for 185 yards today. I get it. That's something we have not done well. But we keep putting the defense in bad situations. Defense played great on first and second down. We get into situations tonight. The first drive of the game, the crowd's going crazy. We get an offsides penalty. We stop them on first down, first and second. We give up a long third. And those situations are very frustrating. This defense, I'm comparing it to last year. This defense is so much better than last year, and yet we're talking about this. But the offense is so much worse than it was last year, because we put our defense in a lot of bad situations.
The unpreparedness for Milroe, for any type of other offensive options that you might have had, that they would have ever considered that they might throw the ball to running backs, which they did repeatedly.
We
in
were
the first
scared
half.
to death of Williams going deep and Milroe, and then we gave up the entire middle of the field. When we did rush Milroe, he dumped it off, and nobody covered anybody in the middle of the field.
And not for nothing, but Williams beat him deep twice. Milroe just missed him.
The score should have been worse early on.
Absolutely. They lost 42-13, and Alabama could have put 60 if they hit a couple other plays. Because if they were trying not to let Williams get deep, he got deep on him. Milroe just missed him.
Yeah.
There was at least twice. I'm like I said, I'm really I'm not often stunned. Okay, I've seen bad game plans before where 2011 national championship game was the rock bottom for most people. It was as good as that team was, and you went out there with this brain-dead game plan, But at least I knew what they were trying to do. I knew that they were trying to replicate what had happened in the game in November when they had won, and they got out coached by the best to ever do it. But at least I understood what they were trying to do. I didn't understand anything about tonight. Not a damn thing did I understand about what LSU was trying to do.
We didn't replicate anything on offense tonight that looked anything like what we've done positive in the previous 8 games. I mean, it made no sense to me. We get off the ball. Look, I text you. We went to pistol. We break a long run. We kind of changed things up. Then we run a screen out to the left. We did a few things different. And then we panicked. We put Josh Williams back there. We do pass protection. We run the same run game. And then I don't know. Look, I got to go back. I do not want to watch this film. I got to go back and watch this film. But there was nothing beyond 10 yards that we could get to. I mean, it was a check down city all night long, and Nussmeier couldn't make anything happen.
This one was tough. And then after all that was said and done,
we got to coach better.
You show out in the fourth quarter where you don't want to tackle anybody anymore. You packed it in. He could say that, they didn't quit. They played till the end.
I was more embarrassed.
Defensively, I think that they packed it in the fourth quarter.
I was more embarrassed getting beat the way we were, not putting in the backups, running the ball, finishing the game. What you do in a respectable loss. He's trying to put up points at the end of the game to try to make it not look worse.
He wanted to score a touchdown.
But at that point, you got all the starters in with 7. I don't give a damn.
I'm
scored
with
a touchdown with 17 seconds left.
Absolutely.
That's actually dog trash. Actually, it's more embarrassing because that backup defense of Alabama whipped your O-line's ass in that last play of the game. Will Campbell, Emory Jones, your first round, every single one of them got their ass whooped on that last drive. They got embarrassed. And then you're trying to put up points with 17 seconds left in the game when you're down 4 scores, 5 scores, whatever it is. That was more embarrassing than the whole previous 3 quarters of the game.
I sat through 58-3. Okay, I sat through 21-0. I sat through 30-27 in Auburn in 1994. This one's right up there, but this one is right up there with the worst losses that I have said, because like I said, for the first time, I knew what they were trying to do in Auburn in 94. It was stupid, but I knew what they were trying to do. I knew what they were trying to do in 11. It was stupid, but I knew what they were trying to do. I know what they're trying to do tonight. It literally looked like they showed up 30 minutes before the game and threw the uniforms on and went out there and said, hey, let's go do this, because it didn't look like they had spent 1 second preparing for this game. And that's as honest as I can put it. 499-9898 is the number to call on the LeBarish hotline. We'll take your phone calls. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com.
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 game day continues. Alabama wins at 42-13. 499-9898 is the number on the LeBear's hotline. Elliot is in Watson to start us off. Elliot, welcome into the show.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
Look, Alabama's coaching staff minus Saban treated LSU's coaching staff tonight like President Trump did Honorini's Harris on Tuesday. It's time for Kelly to go. MAGA.
Okay, so let's.
It's not going to happen.
Right. Let me just stop you right there. Okay. First of all, Kelly's got a 10-year contract. He's got 7 years left on it.
They owe him $70 million.
Yeah. So, and that's not going to happen. All right. If you look at the 4 big hires from the 2022 season: Lincoln Riley, Billy Napier, Brent Venables, and Brian Kelly. Okay. USC, Oklahoma, Florida, LSU, 4 big-time blue blood programs, okay? Kelly's record's better than all of them, and in a couple of cases, significantly better. He's been a long-time coach, okay? When I posted what I did, they said, well, you hadn't watched the games at Notre Dame. There were games at Notre Dame where they were just outgunned, all right? When they played Alabama in the national championship game, Vince Lombardi could have come out of the grave. They weren't going to beat that Alabama team. They didn't have enough firepower. And maybe there were some games that he coached at Notre Dame that were lousy. And, yes, I'm aware of the season openers. But this one, to me, was way worse, all right? My confidence in him is shaken a little bit, but he's not going anywhere. And it's going to be up to him to get it fixed. But I would like to hear something a little bit more substantive than we got to coach better. And I say that knowing that there is nothing that he could have said after that game tonight that would have made me feel better.
But okay. I'm starting to get into, and like I'm not running numbers to numbers, but like we talk about Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. They win 10 games, they win 9 games. But every time we've had to win, when the playoffs were on the line or when something was on the line, we go back to his first year when they beat Alabama, they beat Arkansas in a sloppy game. But there's a shot to make the playoffs there. You got to beat A&M, a terrible A&M, and we play like dog trash and we lose.
Yeah.
This is another situation where we're at 15. Alabama's at 9. we're playing to get in that top 12. When we have to win a game, we perform like dog trash, and that's the most frustrating thing to me.
This is 2 weeks in a row. Last week, first place in the SEC was on the line. This week,
the must-win games,
a playoff spot
don't show up.
is going to be on the table for you if you win, and you threw up on yourself. Max is in Baton Rouge. Max, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys, how's it going? Who do you think had better energy tonight, the LSU Tigers or Omar the Tiger?
I think Omar the Tiger was more relaxed.
Yeah, Omar the Tiger didn't seem like he had
What's the word
it was
about?
affected all that much.
On a serious note, though, guys, I didn't know what to expect going into it. Obviously, I heard a lot about it all week. And if you're going to bring back the tradition, bring back the tradition. But to take that Tiger from Florida, to stick him in the wrong corner of the end zone for 20 seconds was just an absolute joke. It was an embarrassment. Everybody in the stadium was confused. And this is 0 for 2 now for our happy Raging Cajun governor. So please stick your nose out of LSU football and let the coach focus on the game during the week.
Okay, and my response is that doesn't mean a damn thing about the football. I'm so tired of people talking about this damn Tiger. I'm trying to be very look, I played through the Tiger era. Look, when I hear the stories from former players that played at Florida, that played at Alabama, played at Auburn, and when they tell me that it was intimidating walking out, that's cool. I never saw the Tiger when I played at LSU. Never once saw the Tiger outside of the beautiful place we have for him sitting out there. But if I hear another damn fan talk about Jeff Landry, I don't give a damn about Jeff Landry in this damn game. It's got nothing to do with what happened tonight. Quit talking about the damn politics and what happened. Who gives a damn about the Tiger? I'm so sick and tired of that. Let's talk about the football. The football was bad enough. We don't have to talk about where they put the Tiger, when they brought the Tiger out, because that has no effect on the players on the field.
Craig is in New Iberia. Craig, welcome into the show.
Yeah, it's hot garbage. That's the best thing I could think about tonight. That was hot garbage. Okay, Nussmeier played like garbage for 2 weeks in a row. I was at the A&M game last week. We had A&M on the ropes, and Nussmeier brought him back into the game with an interception. His play is not that of a blue blood LSU program. Brian Kelly, I'm like you. Brian Kelly's, we got to coach him better. But when are you going to start coaching him better? When are we going to start? I mean, you're making $10 million a year. If I was making $10 million a year, you damn well better believe I'd be coaching him a lot better. I don't normally get this aggravated, but I am so pissed off because, I mean, we spent a beautiful day out there. It was great. The weather was supposed to be bad. It wasn't the best weather, but it wasn't terrible. Second half cleared up, and we couldn't get out of our own way to score a touchdown until it's garbage time. I mean, come on, guys. It was absolutely trash. And look, I went through the Holman years too, and I totally agree with you. That was the most ill-prepared, underprepared team I have ever seen take the field for LSU. And, you know, like you said, you know, today number 2 falls, number 4 falls. If we beat number 9, guess what? Bam, we were right in the middle of it. We sitting comfortably probably somewhere around 9 or 10. You know, win out and you in. But no, what do? Trip over our own damn feet. I'm going to hang up and listen to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. Richard, let's talk about Nussmeier for a minute. I thought that there was a lot more pressure on him tonight than there was last week. He was at times making throws on the run. So that's part of it, but it doesn't explain everything. In fact, I don't know that it explains more than just a little portion of it. He has regressed in his decision-making. Up until halftime of last week, there have been some ups and downs, and he got bailed out a little bit in the South Carolina game, but there was a lot of good to work with. The last 6 quarters, he has regressed something terrible, and I don't know exactly why. Maybe you have a better read on that than I do.
He just seems to be out of rhythm. I mean, he's looking for the big play instead of taking what's in front of him. There was a play tonight that I can't remember if it was like a 2nd and 4 or 3rd and 4, but he goes for the deep shot when Mason Taylor's got the first down, nobody around him.
Herbstreit pointed that one out.
And he just throws it deep.
I remember what play you're talking about.
There's multiple plays to where now he's trying to prove that they can throw the ball deep. And it's almost like he's forcing things because, and there's a lot of times where he's throwing off his back foot when he doesn't have to. I don't know. Something's been shooken with him lately. And look, the line is they got more pressure tonight. I think A&M got a little bit more pressure, but we saw how he handled South Carolina. I think his mental has been shook since what happened in A&M. I mean, because he bounced back so many times throughout the season when he had bad plays, but against A&M, once things went south, they got worse. And tonight, like, he never looked down the field unless he was trying to push it and force something. I mean, he did so many things tonight that were so uncharacteristic that it was just it was an awful performance from him.
Okay, out of rhythm. Let me go back to the first drive of the second half. This is the one that was particularly frustrating. He had run for a first down on that drive. He had completed a third down pass to Aaron Anderson that got him from 3rd and 8 to 4th and 1. They end up making the first down on a quarterback sneak. He completed a ball to Xavier Thomas on a 2nd down and 20 that got him to 3rd and manageable. Then he completed another ball to Anderson that got him to 4th and 4. Then it was a really nice throw to Mason Taylor for 12 yards on the 4th and 4 that got him the first down. Then he completes, I think it was the only ball Lacey caught up until the last drive, that gets him a first down on the 5-yard line. That's a good drive for Nussmeier. They are, at that point, the score is 21-6. If you score there and you make it 21-13, now you can get the crowd back in the game. He'd had a very good drive. It was a 14-play drive, both with his feet, which almost never happens, and through the air. They're playing 2nd and goal on the 4, and he throws an interception right at the goal line. I don't know if he didn't see him. I don't know if they disguised the coverage. You'll go back and look at the film, and we'll get a better idea. But that was a drive where he was in rhythm, where he was making good decisions, where he was making good plays. And then you said something during the break that was awful but funny, I guess, that they're more likely to score from the 50 than from the 5. They get to the 5-yard line, the 4-yard line, and he throws this awful pick. So where does that come from?
It's because there's no confidence in a running game. Running game rules red zone offenses. You got to be able to run it, or you got to have a quarterback that can freaking look somebody off, make something move, because you're working with so many less yards. Everybody's compact, and this team, look, the offense line is garbage at run blocking. There's nothing they can do. I'm tired of trying to disguise it. We talk about a great offense line. If I hear somebody talk about 2 first-round tackles, I will be lucky if that happens.
It's 1 first-round tackle right now.
There's one, and look,
and not as high as he was 2 months ago either.
It's just once they get down there, you have to be able to run the ball to condense the field. You got to make the linebackers suck up. You got to make the safeties suck up. You got to make everybody respect the run. Nobody respects our run game because our run game's awful. So, I feel more comfortable scoring from the 50-yard line than I do from the 15 right now because there's open space. Once we condense the field, there's nothing we can do because we don't beat anybody one-on-one. Like, we don't have an elite receiver on this team. There's not an elite receiver. You can talk about Kyron Lacey being good. He's a possession receiver. He's not a guy that I want to go move. We talked about the Bengals game the other night. Get me the Jamar Chase one-on-one, I'm throwing you the ball every time. I don't have that guy on this team. You got to beat somebody with a scheme, with something that tricks somebody, with something that fools somebody, or you got to be able to beat them with a run, and we don't have any of that.
499-9898 is the number to call on the LeBarish hotline. We'll take a break, come back with more of your phone calls. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 game day continues. Alabama wins at 42-13. 499-9898 is the number to call on the LaBerge hotline. Ryan is in Arkansas. Ryan, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. I would ask how you are doing, but I already know how you're doing. I'm feeling it, too. I was
Yes,
there.
sir.
It was pretty bad. That press conference tonight was very alarming. It felt like a robot up there with speech. Like he was reading it off a board. It felt like just a recording the same thing over and again and again. The coaching better, when he says that, it feels like you're taking words and sticking them to a piece of paper with Scotch tape, bubblegum, and paper clips at this point. It's just kind of, it was, we stayed there the whole game. I'm going to go back to, I said this a couple weeks ago, I called in. I just think some of these issues, yes, the offensive line is, as a whole right now, it's not working together at times. There are moments tonight it was there, but it's just not there enough. And again, some of the running game I really still feel like is hindered. They backed into Garrett Nussmeier when they came here, when this staff came here. Garrett Nussmeier is a great story. I don't want to say like I'm taking anything away from him because I think he's been great for LSU. He's done great things this year for us, but he's very limited. He's not a guy that wants to run the RPO system the way Sloan. If you look at who they've recruited, that's what they want. And it limits a lot. It does. It makes it so much easier for a defense. I mean, look at what we did for the first half last week or 2 weeks ago against A&M. when you got a guy that, he may scramble or attempt to sometimes, but is not willing to a lot, that's what you get, and you shut him down. And I worry that we're getting to a point with Garrett that people are figuring him out. And that interception in the end zone was the exact same play where they drop back in zone after they fake a blitz, and he throws it right to him. That was demoralizing when you get down there at the second half. That and the offensive line being great, yeah, I'm with Richard. I think it sucks right now. I think we got one first-round guy up there. I mean, Emory Jones maybe two, but I want y'all's opinion. I don't think we're getting more and more talented on the offensive line. We got depth there now. So, y'all tell me. I'm going to let it go and figure out from y'all what y'all think. But it just seems like the offensive line, this isn't a rebuild issue. This should be a program to some point we're reloading. We're in year 3, and it's concerning that our leaders, which are third-year starters like veterans like Campbell, are getting false start penalties still, because your younger guys, it affects on the sideline. That's the stuff that alarms me.
All right.
Your leaders are doing that.
Okay, thank you for the call.
I agree with I agree with just about everything you said. It's, to me, Nussmeier doesn't fit it's really hard to say what they want to do, because we had Jaden Daniels for their first 2 years, and he's an elite player. Look what he's doing in the NFL. You're going to run every offense around what a guy like that can do. But if that's what they want to do, then Nussmeier is not the guy for what they want to do in that offense. And look, I'm not taking a shot at Nussmeier. Nussmeier has a great arm. He can make elite plays, but he's very limited in this style of offense when you're going to continue to run a zone read that he doesn't pull the ball.
I want to read this quote from Kalen DeBoer in the postgame. It says, "I think we just had to keep mixing it up in terms of what LSU was seeing. Nussmeier is a great quarterback, but we can kind of predetermine a little bit where the ball may go."
They've done it 2 weeks in a row. You saw what Elko did. Elko's another great defensive mind, and they've started to trick him. We saw one early on Aaron Anderson broke up an interception earlier in the game. We talked about he threw 2. He could have thrown 5 tonight, but the very first one was they played a man face, and then he broke off into his zone coverage, and Nussmeier threw it right to the guy's face mask, and Anderson had to break it apart.
I don't know if they have great depth on the offensive line or not. The backups really have not played. You were building towards this year. The whole idea behind, well, not that you had a ton of options, but when you put Jones and Campbell in as true freshmen, okay, they won those jobs. They were the best linemen. And you bring in Frazier from it was a transfer, and Dellinger had been here the year prior. This was the year you're building towards. When you have 4 guys that have started, I think it was somewhere around 110, 115 games between them. This was supposed to be that year. Do they have they've got a lot of highly rated recruits behind them, and almost none of them have played. Mubenga's been forced into play the last couple of weeks. Tyree Adams played a little bit earlier in the year before he got hurt. But I don't know if they have great depth or not. They've got a lot of bodies. They've got a lot of highly rated guys. Can they play or not? I don't know. Most of them haven't really seen the field.
It's a mindset and philosophy, though. I don't know if these guys are road graders to where they're taught to just beat somebody up front. We can go back to 07. The guys we had one offensive lineman drafted off that team, and it was Herman Johnson. Got drafted in the 2nd or 3rd round. We dominated the line of scrimmage. Now, we also joke about that we weren't the best pass protecting guys, but we didn't have to deal with that. But it is a mindset of beating the guy in front of you, and it is so frustrating to me because I had such high hopes on this offensive line. And look, we do have guys who are graded highly in the NFL, whatever they want to look at when you're talking about passing. But there's no push, there's no anger, there's no aggression. I don't see anybody whooping anybody's ass up front.
BC is in Baton Rouge. BC, welcome into the show.
Good evening, Charlie. How are you guys doing this evening?
Wonderful. Couldn't be better.
Could be asleep.
All hail the king of the Cheez-It Bowl.
Yeah.
Brian Kelly. So I have a couple of questions. First off, what can we learn from these next 3 games? So you've got a Florida team that's obviously down to his 3rd-string quarterback, Vandy, who's Vandy and actually improved, but still not great. and Oklahoma, who's having one of their worst years in the last 25. So what can we genuinely learn about Brian Kelly, this football program, and this team specifically going forward for the next 3 weeks? And the other question that I have is, when you're going to lose the majority of this offensive line, you may or may not lose your quarterback at the end of the season. What kind of footing does the program as a whole stand on when we're making another transition to a whole new offense potentially again next year? How do we achieve growth, in other words? Then I'll hang up and listen. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. I think what you can find in the last 3 games is, I'm trying to think of a nicer way to say this, but there's not really a nicer way to say this, so I'm going to say it like this. You're going to find out who doesn't want to quit. You're going to find out who is mentally engaged, who's focused, who goes out there and, doesn't have some, little malingering injury that keeps them out of the next couple of games, or, starts, already got one foot in the transfer portal or whatever. The next 3 games are not going to determine Brian Kelly's future here. It's not going to change our mind on the talent level of any of these guys. I mean, seriously, what if one of the lesser used receivers goes out and has 8 catches against Oklahoma? All right, great, but you still got to start over again next spring. To me, it's the one thing you can see is, are you going to stick with it? Or are you just going to kind of mail it in because the big goals are off the board now? Are you still mentally engaged? Do I want to strap it? Do I want to strap the gear on with you next year? Where's your head? Because it's hard to stay focused when, like I said, the big goals are off the board. So I think you can see some of that.
At this point, you're playing for draft picks. You're playing for film. These guys are going to say, I'm not cashing it in. I'm putting the best film forward for when the scouts look at me. And the other guys are saying, I'm trying to prove that I'm the guy for next year. That's all you're looking at. I mean, I don't – look, we're not playing for a big bowl game anymore. Like, the bowl games, outside the 12-game playoff, it's done. You're looking for – the players are playing for draft film and spots next year. But what I want to see from Brian Kelly is continue to coach the team and continue to make them better, because – I'm looking at guys. I tweeted something earlier. Like, I'm watching guys to see how we're going to be next year, because in my mind, once you went to a 12-game playoff, I don't give a damn about the bowl game. The bowl game means nothing to me.
Right. No, and I think most people feel that way.
Yeah.
Now.
So, like, if you're outside the 12, I'm looking for who's going to be there for next year, who's going to improve, and how are you going to coach it? Because we need to see better coaching as well, not just better playing.
I don't know that there's upperclassmen that I'm going to put on a bench right now. If there's some freshman that I'm dying to see.
I said that as a player. Like, when people talk about, like, cashing it in, those seniors, those older guys, they're not cashing it in. They got to put up good film.
Right.
So these guys, like, their motivation is, we're not playing for a championship. We're not playing for the playoff. We don't give a damn about the bowl game, but I got to put my best film going forward.
499-9898 is the number to call on the LeBerge hotline. Jules is in Abbeville. Jules, welcome into the show.
Well, it's better to throw up on yourself than to poo on yourself, because then you have to yell for somebody to bring you some kind of song. Anyway, Charles, you might have to tell Richard what kind of songs are. I've been watching Alabama beat LSU since the early 1960s, and it hasn't changed, save for a couple of years here or there. I mean, we're talking about 60 years, and what have we beat them in those 60 years? 10 times, maybe. So, 2011 was really the last time, in my opinion, that we had a superior type team. I think the rest of Miles was 3 and 4 loss regular season, and you had the championship year, but
the 19 team was pretty salty.
Yeah, but that's a 10-year run of a 14 playoff. We made it once. And now we got a 12-team playoff. And with Kelly, I think we'll be lucky if we make it once. Anyway, thank you.
One out of 10 when it's 12 teams is not acceptable. But let me say this about Alabama, okay? It's a good team. It is not a upper echelon. Now, tonight, notwithstanding, okay? Tonight, they ran you out of your own building. But the 8 games that they played before that, is there an Alabama team that you've seen under Saban outside of his first one where he was, cleaning house, that this team is better than?
That's the most beatable Alabama team since
that's
15 years.
Saban's team last year wasn't one of his bests, and they still made the playoff, and they still got down to the last play with the national champions and could have won it. I'll be surprised. This Alabama team will probably make the playoff because they got Auburn and Oklahoma left, which they'll win those games. They'll get to 10-2, and they'll make the playoff. They may win a game. You send Alabama to, say, Penn State, they probably win that game. But do I think that this is an elite Alabama team? I don't, compared to their standards. Do I think that they should have outclassed LSU to this stage? No. I did it in the pregame. We did the Open. I said, well, look, what has Alabama done the last 4 weeks? They've played a 2-point game with South Carolina, which is essentially what LSU did, and Alabama's game against South Carolina was in Tuscaloosa. LSU played them in Columbia. They had a game against Tennessee that they lost. They had a game against Vanderbilt that they lost. They blew out Missouri. Missouri was without their starting quarterback. So this is not, to me, an elite Alabama team, but they're still really good. Shouldn't be 35 points of difference between these two teams. There have been years where there was 35 points of difference.
There were times where I thought Alabama was so much better. This is a game that the national media thought we could win. We all thought we could win. Vanderbilt's a good team. They lost to Vanderbilt, lost to Tennessee. First time in a long time they came into Tiger Stadium with 2 losses. I mean, and this was a team that we thought we could play with. I mean, this was embarrassing. I mean, just from the standpoint
you should have been able to play with them.
We should have. Look, I can handle a loss, not nicely, but I can handle a loss. This is, to me, to where we just all 22 starters and the coaching staff should be completely embarrassed going home tonight.
499-9898 is the number to call. Greg is in Baton Rouge. Greg, welcome into the show.
Yeah, so, Charlie, you talked a little bit about future casting, and then you stopped yourself short because of this insurmountable buyout. But, just playing the hypothetical game, Charlie, you're installed immediately as a head coach or general manager of the team. You have Elon's checkbook at your leisure, and so what do you feel like based on the coaching staff, based on Nussmeier for next year or not? I mean, what would your projections be?
If I had Elon's checkbook, I could get Nick Saban for another 5, 7, 8 years.
I'd love to have Elon's checkbook, even for a minute. What can you do other than you continue to recruit better? Okay, the biggest mistake that Brian Kelly made was the staff that he put together upon his arrival on the defensive side of the ball. They were not good recruiters, and they were not experienced enough coaches. And maybe we should have made a bigger deal about that at the time. It corrected that. Okay, the defensive staff is better. We know that these guys can recruit. We know that they can coach. And for the group said, well, nobody's gotten any better. No, that's not true. Wood Weeks is a better football player now. Braden Swinson's a better football player now. Savion Jones is a better player now. Zy Alexander's a better player now than when he got to LSU. So there have been guys that have improved, okay? You got to keep recruiting. You got to upgrade the talent level. This is not the most uber talented roster. So all you can do is you've got the defensive staff that you want. I think you've mostly got the offensive staff that you want. Now, Joe Sloan is a play caller. in the red zone. I think there's some stuff that you got to look at there. And we've talked about this, to death about if you're going to run the zone read, you don't have the quarterback to run the zone read. And, at some point you got to say, well, if you can't run the football, man, look, there's the offensive line problems. You groom these guys. You brought them along. You got 115 starts coming into the season, and they can't run block. Okay, you're going to start over. Is the next group better? You just got to keep doing what you're doing as far as recruiting, and what by that I mean this year. And we did 15 minutes with Shea Dixon in the pregame. These are all really highly recruited kids. You got to coach them up. I don't have a quick fix. I don't have a, well, they got to go out and get this one recruit. I mean, they got the number one player in the country here today. He
didn't leave happy, I'm sure. I mean, I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah, I don't know if he left happy or not, but he's pretty firm in his commitment. So there's not like a wave of magic wand. It's not, if Brian Kelly decided to retire tomorrow, I don't have one guy that's on my list that I'm like, man, go get that guy.
No, but let's talk about the recruiting aspect from it. Is when this offense was great, and we blamed the defense the first 2 years, but you had Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, Jaden Daniels. We're lacking on the offensive talent as well right now. I think Caden Durham's an elite player. The offensive line is pretty good at pass blocking. We can't do anything in the run game, but look, I like Kyron Lacey. He's a great possession guy. He's my number 3, just like he was last year. We don't have a 1 or 2 right now. This is the first time in years that we don't have a Kayshon Boutte. I mean, even when he fell off, but we had receivers for so many years, Jamar Chase, Jefferson, Malik Thomas, all these guys that stretched the field, made big plays, made quarterbacks better. Name a great quarterback in the NFL with a bad receiver. They don't have them. You got to have both sides of the aspect to be great, and I think that's where we're lacking right now. But there's also, a multitude of things, because if you can't move the ball in the run game, you make everything harder in the pass game.
So you have to ask yourself, why don't you have, receivers of that magnitude? Well, you had a class where Sheldon Sampson was a 5-star recruit and is not playing for you. And Kyle Parker was a very highly recruited kid who played a little bit for you at the beginning of the season and got hurt and is out for the year. You had one kid transferred out.
Miami.
Yeah, I'm blanking on his name.
Brown.
Right? Yeah. So that's 3 that were all up at the very, very top. Last year they asked, why didn't you recruit Keon Coleman, who was from Opelousas? Well, you had Neighbors, you had Tom in that class, not last year, in that class. Neighbors, you had Thomas, you had help me out here. I'm trying to remember who else was in that class.
Chris Hilton was in the class.
Chris Hilton was the highest one, and a kid from Mississippi, Smith, Deion Smith. So you had those 4 guys who were all monster guys, okay? So one of them transfers out. One of them has been battling injuries, and the other 2 were first-round picks. You don't have that on this team. I just rattled off some names to you. Why is that? I don't know. Are you not?
It's tough. I mean, look, Chris Hilton was rated higher than Brian Thompson.
Than all of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, and then Deion, he had great issues. Went to junior college, supposed to be at Ole Miss, had issues there. There's a crapshoot, but it's also one of those things is it's just hard to see an LSU team without elite receivers. And, I'm not trying to bash the receivers we have. We just don't have the guys that are go win me one-on-one. I'm going to throw you the ball deep every time, and I expect you to make a play 60% of the time.
But if you're asking me what I do with Elon's checkbook, I'm going to go get the guys that they're recruiting now.
Yeah.
It's not like they're recruiting against group of 5 schools. When they get a commitment, it's guys that Georgia's recruiting or Florida's recruiting or Texas is recruiting or whoever. I'd go out and get the best players that I could get. I think they're trying to do that. The development on some of them has worked and on some of them it hadn't.
My biggest question tonight, and I would say if we're going to question in the realm where we're at, is Joe Salone and Brian Kelly, is they took Durham off the field. for a lot of this game. And look, that first drive, I text you, they went into pistol. He breaks a long one. He breaks another one for 12. He had 55 yards in the first drive or first two drives of the game. And then it's like he disappeared. They went back to Josh Williams. They went back to the pass protector. They went back to the guy that they were comfortable with back there, and then they couldn't move the ball. That's something to me. I mean, they were running the ball well early in this game, and where it disappeared, I don't understand why.
499-9898 is the number to call on the LeBears hotline. We'll take a break. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day continues. Alabama wins it 42-13. 499-9898 is the number. On the LeBears hotline, Matthew is in New Orleans. Matthew, welcome in the show.
Hey, thank you so much. All right, so on the ratio of coaching to talent, like, what is it? Good players or good coaching? Like, what makes a team?
I'd rather have great players and an average coach than average players and a great coach.
100%.
If that answers your question.
It just looks like at times. So when Nick Saban on game day today said, "I'm going to go with my team because it was the players I recruited," he felt almost overly confident when he made that statement.
That was political.
And did y'all see that?
Yeah, I saw it.
He can't dog out the guys he recruited. He brought all those guys to Alabama. He's got to stick with them, and I completely respect what he's saying. And but for the most part, you got to have great players that are coached well. Like, you can have great players that are coached okay, and you can win 8-9 games. But you got to have, if you have great players that are coached great, that's when championships come around.
But if you get like the good guys, like the rah-rah attitude, the team players, like I'm not a player. You guys have been on that side of the football. Like, can you overcome good players if you have like the right like camaraderie, the right like team?
It helps you win a few games.
Demonstrate.
It helps keep the locker room together. I mean, you got to have a mix of both. You got to have elite players. You got to have the guys that are there to help you practice better. Because what people don't realize, when you're recruiting a team, when I played, there was 80 scholarship guys on the team. 29, 35 guys played. But the guys that were really good, that were on the scout team, they made you better every day. You had to practice against guys that were with elite talent. And those were guys that maybe not ever made the field. They were guys that practiced for 4 years that you practice against. But, I mean, it's a combination of things. But, I mean, great coaching and great players is what makes championships.
Thank you for the call. There are shows we come in here and you say, well, the coaches get blamed. And look, that's part of the gig. And there have been a lot of times where I've taken up for not just these coaches, but other coaches. And I say, look, man, all you can do is call a play. You can't throw the ball. You can't make the tackle. You can't make the catch. The special team stuff, from a couple of 2 weeks ago against A&M. Well, they weren't coached to snap the ball right in the holder's face. They weren't coached to, spin the laces sideways. At some point, the players have to take some responsibility for this stuff. Tonight's game, I put 150% on the coaching staff. That team was not prepared. I know, okay? I have 8 games of evidence, valuable evidence, like Buford T. Justice would say. I got 8 games of evidence that they're better than that.
Yeah.
I mean, or would they beat, if these two teams played 10 times, would LSU beat them, 4, 5, or 6? I don't know, but I know they're not 5 touchdowns worse than that Alabama team. And the players made mistakes, to be sure, tonight, but they look so out of sorts, so bewildered, so flat-footed, so just I keep coming back to the word bewildered. They looked confused. They looked completely ill-prepared to play this game. This one is on the coaches. This game. This one's on the coaches.
I agree with you, and I'm going to sound like the idiot the way that Jalen Miller ran up and around that defense, but the offense tonight was so bad.
Both sides.
But the way the defense started is we were stopping the running back carry game. We stopped them early on, and then Milroe broke a few, and then it felt like as the game got on, the gates just flooded, and everybody it got worse. But this is the worst offensive performance I've seen in 3 years under Brian Kelly.
They were trying so hard to score a touchdown at the end because it's been 6 years since they didn't score a touchdown. It was the Alabama game, the game that Burrow was hurt, basically. He was playing,
6 years.
6 years ago. 499-9898, LeBear's Hotline. Kevin is in Baton Rouge. Kevin, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. Got 2 questions, man. First one is something I've noticed this entire season, and maybe I'm nitpicking, but our passing game, to me, it seems like about 75% or so of our passes are out, long passes across the field out to the flats, or if it's downfield pass, it's up against the boundaries. Pretty much most of our passing game. But we don't use the middle of the field at all. Is there a reason for that? Is that just a poor? I don't get it. But our question is, Joe Sloan, in my opinion, is just he's in over his head at this point. But we're kind of tied with Bryce Underwood's recruitment so tied to him. Is he around next year as offensive coordinator, or is he downgraded to maybe quarterbacks coach again? How do you deal with that? And then that passing game again. Do you notice that most of our passes are to the boundaries or to the flats, and that's about it?
Well,
Guys. Thanks.
your passing game coordinator is Cortez Hankton. I mean, and look, Joe Sloan's got a part in all of that, but I disagree. I mean, Anderson's biggest plays of the year all across the middle. Some of our biggest pass plays were
Mason Taylor.
Mason Taylor across the middle. We've thrown a lot of touchdowns over the middle of the field deep. And I get what you're talking about as far as our go-to plays or comeback routes or guys sitting on the edge. To me, it all boils down to is if you can't run the ball and bring linebackers up and bring safeties up, then it kind of limits the field of where you can go.
I think what he's trying to say is nothing's easy.
Nothing's easy. And I agree with that 100%.
There's nothing is this little quick hitter that anybody could throw. And Kelly said, I think it was week before last, we don't have a whole lot in the screen game because we've got elephants on roller skates as offensive linemen. You and I, on the film, looked at some of the screen game stuff that they ran against USC.
They did it early in this game.
They did it in this game. They
we
brought
threw
it
some
back.
outside screens to Josh Williams, and we do those things, but
the linemen don't have to get out.
away.
These are bunch formations
Yeah.
where the receivers are out there blocking. I'll give you an example of one of the plays that frustrated me tonight, and this is before the game got out of hand. This was right at the beginning of the second quarter, and LSU had a 3rd down and 4 at their own 34-yard line. And they had to call timeout because the play clock was running down. So they come out of the timeout, which they never intended to call but had to, and the play ends up being about a 25-yard out to Kyron Lacey that had no chance at all. This was a 3rd and 4. At this point in the game, it's 14-3, and you really need to keep the ball. You really need to pick up a first down here. And you got no play. I bring up the point in the game it was because you hadn't used – I don't even know if they were through the script at this point because Alabama had the ball the whole first quarter. Let me look at this. At that point, they had run 11 plays. So they're not even through the script yet.
They got their first 20.
Yeah.
Still.
They're not even through the script, and this is what they're running out of a timeout on 3rd down and 4. This very high degree of difficulty – low percentage pass. Now, if you hit it, wonderful. Okay, you're going to pick up 25 yards. But is that really, at this point in the game, it's 14-3. You desperately need to keep the football. You're not through the script, and you don't have a higher percentage pass play in your pocket than that.
See, where I want to go back and look and mark that play down because this goes back to decision-making by the quarterback. There was another play, and it was a 3rd and 4. Don't know if we're talking about the same play. He threw it deep to an out guy. I can't remember where he went, but he had Mason Taylor crossing the middle of the field at 5
I think
to
that was
7.
it was for 3rd and 4, but I think that was later in the game.
Okay, but there was multiple times where he's got to take the easy stuff. I feel like in the last couple games, Nussmeier's pressing so bad to make that deep play and make the deep ball that he gives up on the easy stuff when there's stuff that you can drop off to your intermediate routes and just keep the ball going and keep the possession rolling.
I don't buy the screen game is not a real viable option for them because of the offensive lineman. Yeah, I think that there's other ways you can throw screens. You can throw bubble screens. You can.
I want the ball in Xavier Thomas's hands as many times as freaking possible. I mean, he's the most electric player on the field. We saw what he did in the kickoff return game today. He's a guy that just doesn't go down easy. We put in a little special run play for him. We might have had another carry for him. But when he gets the ball in his hand, he makes things happen. He's a guy that needs to be so much more involved in the offense than we're given the opportunity to be.
I'll give you another screen example that doesn't require linemen to pull, and it was a play that you guys ran all the time, and I don't ever remember it not working. It was that little middle peekaboo screen mostly to Charles Scott.
Yeah.
And I don't ever remember it not working. And you only ran it maybe once a game, but it was always in one of those crucial situations, and Scott always caught the ball, and he always made a first down. I mean, if he ever didn't, I don't remember it. That's a very easy play to execute, or at least you guys made it look easy.
Well, yeah, and I mean, you had that, but every run play we had a check bubble. I mean, we had 34 zone check bubble, 35 zone check bubble. Everything was, if you got guys playing off on the outside, you had soft coverage, we were going to throw it to the inside receiver and let one guy block, and it was an outside run play that you were going to get 5 to 7 yards. And it's there. We've seen them run it in the USC game and didn't realize it until we went back and watched the film. But getting away from that, just the quick stuff, dumping it off to the receiver, letting me go make a play, give me that was Zion Thomas 5 to 7 times a game. It's something that's going to be out there that you can, just make the easy yardage.
We're brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com. The holiday season is coming up. Try the new Porball rice. It's the closest thing you're going to get to restaurant-quality rice. Available at Rouse's, at Walmart's, and all the places that you buy rice. The new Porball rice from Supreme Rice. Also, the jasmine, the brown, the long grain, the medium grain. They're all delicious. Pick your favorite flavor, as they say, for your etouffees, your red beans and white beans, your gumbos, your stews, and again, as we get closer towards the holidays, and you're going to be supporting our Louisiana farmers, because Supreme Rice is grown, milled, and processed down in southwest Louisiana. It has been since the 1930s. They're part of the Climate Smart program. It's talking about reducing methane emissions and promoting water conservation for future generations of Louisiana farmers. For more information and great recipes, go to SupremeRice.com. Take a break. More of your phone calls when we return. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years.
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 game day continues. Alabama wins at 42-13. We had an unbeaten fall earlier today in Miami. Another one on the ropes here. BYU trailing by 2 with 55 seconds to go, but they are inside the Utah 30-yard line. They're at the 27 with 50 seconds to go. So we'll keep you up to date on what happens at the end of this game. 499-9898 is the number to call. Mike is in Texas. Mike, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Came in late on this one, so if you already addressed it, just let me know. But one thing I've noticed over Brian Kelly's season, I guess this year, is during his press conferences, he's always said, I need to coach better. We need to coach better. You know, we need to be better as a coaching staff. And, I mean, we heard it again tonight. At what point do we need to hold that accountable? I know we're not getting rid of him or anything, but at what point is that more of an excuse now than a game plan change? Because I'm tired of hearing it. It just rubs me wrong. I know it's more of a comment, but I'd love to get
wait, hang on. Don't hang up. I want to ask you a question. What would have made you feel better? And I'm not trying to be smart aleck or anything.
No.
Because there's a few things you can do in the post-game press conference. He can go in there and he can take the blame and he can say, we need to coach better and it's on me. He can go in there and he can say, listen, you know, my quarterback threw a couple interceptions and my safety, you know, for some reason, you know, takes bad angles all the time. And, you know, then that's called throwing the players under the bus. He can go in there and throw a tantrum and pound on the table, which he did against USA, and he got, you know, criticized for that. For myself, after watching that game, there is nothing Brian Kelly could have said in that press conference short of, hello, you know, thank you for coming to the post-game press conference. Is Charles Hannegriff in the room here? Because I'd like to write him $1 million check. That would have made me happy. Anything else that he says, I'm mad. I'm aggravated. So not to dodge the question or anything, but there's not anything he could have said in that press conference that would have made me feel any better. So
I guess you have proved my point to the point both of our frustrations are at, because you're right, because he could have said anything, and it's just I'm tired of hearing the same answer, same in, day out.
As am I. I agree with you. And to your point, this is the third time this season we've heard that. Like, after every loss, we got to coach better. And I get to Charlie's point, too, because you can't throw the players under the bus because then you get a bad rep. You can't throw a fit. But there is a way to say it with saying coaching better. But there's also a way to, you know, make your players accountable, too. I mean, like, when I was in the NFL, they told you when you played bad. They told you when a guy didn't do the right thing. But there's also a way of doing it the right way. And I'm kind of in between with what both y'all are saying. I agree with what you're saying. I agree with what Charlie's saying. But it's also you to say, hey, we got to play better. We have to do better things. Those guys got to make that tackle. Nuss, you cannot throw that interception. You can say things without throwing them completely under the bus, but I'm so tired of hearing we got to coach better as well.
This is a soul searcher. I mean, you got embarrassed. And again, I think that word gets overused a lot. They should be embarrassed.
Former players are embarrassed. I've talked to them. I've been texting to them. Like, this is, you know, I'm getting text messages saying right now we are playing Notre Dame football. And I don't want, because I hate Notre Dame more than anything. When people are texting me saying we look like Notre Dame. I don't want to hear that.
I didn't want to hear that Jalen Milroe beat you with his legs.
Yeah.
That to me is the most infuriating thing. After he beat you last year, this year he had 30 more yards than he had last year on 8 fewer carries.
He broke a 75-yarder.
At the end, 72,
39-yarder.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about that's nothing that we can be accepted.
I can't believe that after last year's game and after last week's game, 2 weeks ago against A&M, these running quarterbacks beat you, and you didn't have a better plan than that. That's absolutely.
The only thing I'll say about that is it's completely different from the A&M game to this. I thought what Alabama did was very interesting, faking the handoff and then having the running back be the lead blocker. But either that or then whatever, you got to stop it.
I'm watching this the pitchy woo woo. BYU kicked the field goal. By the way, they had a kickoff to Utah.
Stay in the field.
Half a dozen or more laterals. There's a flag on the field anyway, and it's down. So BYU is going to survive. 22-21 is. Check that penalty for us, but I think that's on Utah. So they're going to survive, and they're going to get to 9-0. Lance is in Shreveport. Lance, welcome into the show.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hey, good.
Yeah.
Not really, but
night.
you know.
Yeah.
It's something to say.
Pretty embarrassing. Just quick. I mean, there's not a whole lot. I have a ton of questions, but just one. For brevity. Okay, so Sloan and Nussmeier. It seems that he has no deep ball. I understand that the receiving core is not what we're used to having. And when he throws the deep ball, you might as well just make it 2nd and 10 because, I mean, he hadn't completed a ton of them. In the decision making, I think the previous caller had mentioned or commented how he had, or maybe it was. How he had Mason open in the middle of the field. How much of this do you put on Nuss, and how much of this do you put on Sloan? I mean, because it seems to me, again, that Nuss is just trying for the home run almost every time he goes out there. And, dude, I don't see how we can't complete little, 4 or 5 yard passes and just chip away down the field. I mean, with Mason and especially with Tradez, I mean, good Lord. I mean, we got some talent there. I understand you don't have the deep threat, but, I mean, we got some. So I'll hang up and listen. Thanks.
This one's for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think Nussmeier, we can go back and break down every deep ball he's thrown. When he's had guys open, he's overthrown them, underthrown them. He's not a good deep ball thrower. Where I think he's good is intermediate crossing routes, putting balls in places in between defenders. But that's not his strength. He is I'm trying to say it the best way possible. We don't have the receivers to go deep ball to where a guy can just throw it up and let the guy go make a play. He has to make it a perfect throw on the deep ball, and that's not where he's good at.
The ball fades a little bit on him. Now he'll put some air under it, but the ball fades on him a little bit.
He throws it too far, throws it too short. Like he doesn't have that 6'2", 6'3" guy that can go up and make a big play. I mean, he has to throw it perfect, but he's made bad decisions also, what he talks about. I mean, he threw the deep ball tonight on a 2nd and 4, 3rd and 4, whatever it was, when he needed a first down. Like he's made bad decisions lately, and we can all pile on him over the last 6 quarters. The last 6 quarters have been the worst football he's played as an LSU Tiger. Previous to that, people were talking about is he leaving early because he's a first-round draft pick. So, I mean, there's an in-between to where he's got elite talent, he's got first-round ability, but he doesn't have the consistency of being a great quarterback day in and day out right now.
499-9898 is the number. Kenyon is in central Louisiana. Kenyon, welcome into the show.
Hey, man, as a season ticket holder, this game was hard to watch. I mean, we've been out-coached with USC at the beginning of the year, was totally out-coached, unprepared for those guys. And, just it's frustrating to watch. But what about our second-string quarterback? Once we seen that Nussmeier wasn't doing the things he needed to do, why haven't we went to our backup quarterback and gave him an opportunity like Texas A&M did with their quarterback? I'm going to hang up and let y'all answer that. Thank
you. I appreciate it. in this game, I would have liked to have seen them just letting Nussmeier have a seat. The issue had been decided. I would have liked to have seen Ricky Collins get in the game. Just because Nussmeier needed to probably sit. There wasn't a whole lot for him to gain.
Nussmeier needed to sit. Taylor needed to sit.
Yeah.
Like, the most frustrating part of this, and we kind of talked about it off air, is I thought that outside of getting embarrassed on the field, embarrassing the program was having your starters out there against the second team Alabama trying to score a touchdown at the end. I wish Ricky Collins would have got in there, moved the ball a little bit. He's not the savior. I don't think he's the guy that you're going to put in like A&M did to come in and win the game. But at that point, we just needed to let those guys get off the field and
finish the game.
Yeah.
Give them a reward for practicing all that stuff. And Nuss needed to sit at that point. There's not a whole lot to gain from it.
Nuss needed to reflect. I mean, he needs to sit on the bench and be like, I got to reset myself because he put the team in bad situations.
It was time for him, but why they didn't do that, I don't know. I guess I do know.
They want to score a touchdown.
They wanted to score a touchdown.
And that's more embarrassing.
Yeah,
than the outcome of the game.
that's irritating. Bill is in Hammond. Bill, welcome into the show.
Hey, Charles and Richard. I'm not going to be as astute as some of the other callers because I don't follow it that closely and I can't get into schemes and sometimes I can't even watch that many plays. But back to your original description, Charlie, with bewilderment. You said that Milroe had 8 fewer carries but 30 more yards.
Than the game last year, yeah.
Okay, go back and look at. I felt like I was watching a replay. I thought it was in Groundhog Day. Every time I turned it on, he kept running for a touch. Did he ever get how many? I can understand somebody breaking tackles and running over you and eluding you like Michael Vick. Nobody touched the guy a lot of times. Well, how is that possible? That's bewilderment to me.
You were not alone tonight. Here's another play that aggravated me. This was in the fourth quarter. Alabama had the ball. It was 35-6 at this point, and they were playing a 3rd down and 2 at their own 28-yard line. Now the issue, this is with 10 minutes to go in the game, so the issue has been decided. This is just how fast can we get this over with. And he ran a zone read, and he kept it, and they tackled him for a 5-yard loss. Hard to believe. A lot of people had given up by that point, and I wouldn't blame you. And Fowler and Herbstreit are great. And thanks for the shout out, guys. The sympathetic words at the end.
How miserable would it be to be a post-game?
Right, the post-game guy. Thanks for that. But they said, Herbstreit said at that point, on this play, they've made sure that Milroe is not going to beat them. I think it was Weeks and might have been Swinson, might have been Jones. I don't remember. They had 3 guys over there. They tackled him. The running back was by himself. If he had handed the ball away, the running back might have gained 40 yards. Who knows? And said they made absolutely sure that Milroe wasn't going to beat him.
A little too late.
Way too late. And that's when I want. You had times where you were aggravated. That one was where I was aggravated. It's like, that's what I wanted to see in the first quarter, okay? If you're going to run this zone, and it wasn't all zone read, some of it was just quarterback keeps. The 39-yard was a quarterback foul. I'm going to hit Jalen Milroe every chance you give me. And if the running back tears me up for 175 yards, so be it. But I've already watched this guy beat me. And I've watched a guy like him, at least from a running quarterback standpoint, beat me 2 weeks ago. Quarterback's not going to beat me again. Beat me some other way. I'm going to put everybody up at the top. You throw the ball over my head, go right ahead. And they had opportunities to throw the ball over their head, and Milroe missed on a couple of those balls. Go back and look. These were first and second quarter balls. Williams is behind it. Now it was raining, okay, but he missed those throws. He ain't gonna miss with his legs.
They were throwing them deep. Why weren't we throwing them deep? I mean, why
you just said it because he didn't throw the deep ball.
Yeah, I mean, so to me, we can go back to all that. We got beat up front on both sides of the ball. Mm-hmm. Our D tackles got manhandled. The ends got handled for the most part. On the opposite side, our tackles got handled. Our guard and centers didn't know what they were doing at some point. I mean, there were guys running right by them, and they're looking, just shuffling back and forth. I mean, it was an embarrassment up front.
The sack that caused the fumble, okay? We haven't really talked about game situations all that much because it got out of hand. But after the fourth down
You get a fourth down stop.
You get a fourth down stop, and the very next play, the pressure comes right up the middle, and Chester is blocking nobody. He's pointing at I don't know what.
He had blindfolds on at that point.
And the defensive back comes right
up the A gap.
Yeah.
And he never sees him. He's just kind of scanning around looking.
Who are you supposed to be blocking?
Very frustrating to me just from like
I mean, aren't you supposed to, if you are in the center and
if I'm
you're
not blocking
uncovered,
somebody,
you're supposed to have blitz pickup.
Look, any time that you're not blocking somebody, you're looking for somebody to block. And that one to me is unexcusable.
It was almost like he pointed at him as he went by.
He said, "Hey, Nuss, look out for him."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Duck. We got to laugh, man, because otherwise you just start screaming. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back with more Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties, so retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day Stat Check. Presented by Luba Workers Comp. Luba Workers Comp. Delivering genuine dependability.
This segment is a testimonial to meaningless yards. You ready for this one? First downs, 23 for Alabama, 22 for LSU. It was close, right? No.
I don't want to hear that.
Total yards, 420 to 343. Was it that close? No. Passing yards, 109 for Alabama, 239 for LSU. Rushing, 311 yards for Alabama, 104 for LSU. 7 penalties for the Tide at 74 yards, 7 for 65 at LSU. 3 turnovers for LSU to none. Time of possession, 33:55 for the Tide, 26:05 for LSU. Third down. Wow. Boy, I missed this one earlier. Third down efficiency, 10 of 13 for Alabama. 10 of 13.
That makes sense. I feel like I felt that stat.
That first game, he coached down the Superdome against Florida State. They were something like 11 of 14 or something like that. Yeah, it was very much like that tonight. All right, let me get this out of the way. Jalen Milroe, 12 of 18, 109 yards through the air. Nussmeier, 27 of 42, 239, a touchdown, 2 picks. Milroe ran 12 times for 185 yards, 15.4 yard average, 4 touchdowns, along a 72. Again, for context, last year he ran 20 times for 155 yards. So, again, 8 fewer carries, 30 more yards. Jam Miller, 13 carries for 38 yards. They had 4 other backs that they gained at least 12 yards. Caden Durham, 8 carries for 63 yards. Xavier Thomas, 2 for 18. Jam Miller caught 5 passes for 50 yards. Ryan Williams really wasn't that big of a factor in this game.
He threw for 109 yards.
Yeah, he had the one nice punt return. Yeah. 2 catches for 29 yards. He did overthrow him on a bomb where he would have had him for a score. Kyron Lacey, 5 catches for 79 yards in the last touchdown that really aggravated Richard. Mason Taylor, 4 for 50, and Josh Williams, 6 catches for 38 yards. Aaron Anderson, 3 for 27. They have the no screens, threw the ball to backs quite a bit tonight. Whit Weeks, 15 tackles tonight, 7 solos, half a tackle for loss, and Campbell, 12 tackles for Alabama, including 3 for a loss, a sack and a half, a pass defense, and a partridge in a pear tree. LSU punted twice for a 40-yard average, and Alabama punted twice for a 45-yard average. This is the whole thing. Real bad. Take a break. Come back. Final scoreboard. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
At Luba Workers Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
.1. The Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln College Football Scoreboard. Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln on airline under the giant American flag.
All right, everything has gone final. Start up at the top. Number 1, Oregon beat Maryland 39-18. They go to 10-0 on the season. Number 2, Ohio State, no problem with Purdue, 45-0. Will Howard threw 3 touchdown passes. Number 16, Ole Miss, fully upset. They beat number 3, Georgia, 28-10. Richard, the way this game started, man, in the first few minutes, Jackson Dart got slammed to the turf. He threw an interception. He went to the injury tent limping. Georgia punched it in for a touchdown. We're talking about 3.5 minutes into the game. It's 7-0 Georgia. Jackson Dart's going to the locker room, and man, things look terrible for Ole Miss. From that point on, Ole Miss beat the stew out of them the rest of the day.
You had a backup quarterback come in and lead him on a touchdown drive.
Austin Simmons, yeah, it was 5 or 6 on that drive.
There was nothing Georgia could do at that point. I mean, Ole Miss started rolling. They really controlled the clock, moved the ball. I mean, I think they had 5 punts in a row at one point.
Dart came back in the game. He threw for 199 yards and a touchdown and ran for 50 yards. Another upset. Georgia Tech beat number 4 Miami, handed the Canes their first loss of the season, 28-23. Haynes King, the quarterback, played. They used 2 quarterbacks today. He ran for 93 yards and a touchdown. Cam Ward, 348 yards in the air and 3 touchdowns in a losing effort.
Charlie, that's where things went wrong for me. I had Georgia lose, felt good. I had Miami lose. I wanted chaos up front.
Yeah,
I can't get 2 wins and then.
Congratulations, yeah. It's little problem after that. Number 5, Texas beat Florida 49-17. 5 touchdowns for Quinn Ewers. Number 6, Penn State beat Washington 35-6, bouncing back from their first loss of the season. Number 7, Tennessee handled Mississippi State 33-14. Number 8, Indiana goes to 10-0 for the first time in school history. They beat Michigan 20-15. Curtis Rourke threw for 206 yards and 2 touchdowns. Number 9, BYU. We told you about this 20 minutes or so ago. They win the Holy War. They beat Utah 22-21. kicked a field goal with 3 seconds to go. The Cougars remain undefeated. Number 10 Notre Dame beat Florida State 52-3. Listen, if you're feeling bad about LSU right now after tonight, you could be at Florida State. They are 1-9. Number 12 Boise State beat Nevada 28-21. Ashton Jenney ran for 209 yards and 3 touchdowns, keep himself in the Heisman conversation. Kansas beat number 17 Iowa State 45-36. It was Virginia over number 18 Pitt 24-19. After Pitt opened up 7-0, now they've lost their last 2. Number 20 Colorado beat Texas Tech 41-27. I got to check the tiebreakers, but I think Colorado may be in control of their own destiny in the Big 12. I got to check that, but they got a great shot to make the Big 12 championship game if they keep winning. And they're going to be favored, I think, in all of their final 3 games. Number 21, Washington State beat Utah State 49-28. Quick, Rich, what's Washington State's record?
8-4-6.
You were closer the first time.
Okay.
8-1.
Okay.
They're the quietest 8-1 in the country.
Yeah.
We don't ever talk about Washington State. Not that we need to. Number 23, Clemson beat Virginia Tech 24-14. Number 24, Missouri beat Oklahoma 30-23. Wild fourth quarter up at Columbia. Oklahoma got a scoop and score to go ahead. Missouri came down, scored a touchdown to tie it, then got a scoop and score of their own to win it. Drew Pine, the former Notre Dame quarterback, started for Mizzou. He threw 3 touchdown passes. Number 25, Army stayed perfect. They beat North Texas 14-3. Bryson Daly did play in this game, the Army quarterback. He ran for 153 yards and 2 touchdowns. Rutgers beat Minnesota 26-19. It was Boston College over Syracuse 37-31. West Virginia beat Cincinnati 31-24. Texas State over UL Monroe 38-17. Navy beat South Florida 28-7. Liberty over Middle Tennessee 37-17. UConn over UAB 31-23. Marshall beat Southern Miss 37-3. Duke over NC State 29-19. San Jose State over Oregon State 24-13. James Madison beat Georgia State 38-7. It was UTEP over Kennesaw State 43-35 in double overtime. Tulane goes to 8-2. They stay perfect in the American at 6-0. They beat Temple 52-6. South Carolina, no letdown at Vandy. They beat the Commodores 28-7. Lenora Sellers with 2 touchdowns through the air, and Rocket Sanders with 2 touchdowns on the ground. Jacksonville State beat Louisiana Tech 44-37. Wild finish. Jacksonville State had to have a Hail Mary to tie the game, missed the extra points, so then they had to go to overtime. They score the touchdown in overtime and then get a stop. UL Lafayette goes to 8-1 on the season. They stay perfect 5-0 in the Sun Belt. They beat Arkansas State 55-19. Western Kentucky over New Mexico State 41-28. Arizona State beat UCF 35-31. It was TCU over Oklahoma State 38-13. That ensures that Mike Gundy will have his first losing season at Oklahoma State. They're now 3-7. He was hired right after Les Miles left Oklahoma State. Been there since 2005. UNLV got by Hawaii 29-27, and Air Force beat Fresno State 36-28. Southern was able to get a victory. I believe this game went to overtime. Southern 25-23 over Bethune-Cookman. It did go overtime. It went 5 overtimes. That's what I'm showing here. 5th overtime. 25-23.
We've seen 7 overtimes.
And so this is with all of the 2 point. You're saying with 5 overtimes, they only scored 25 2-point conversions after the first 2. And Grambling beat Alabama State 24-23, and that is your college football scoreboard. Game balls are next. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Eagle 98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Game Balls. Presented by WCK Foundation Repair. WCK Foundation Repair. Support your home team. WCK Foundation Repair.
You first.
I'm going with Omar the Tiger.
Omar the Tiger.
The most interesting thing that happened today on the field.
I'm going with Paul Skeens.
I could go with that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know how many of his picks he got right, but I like Paul Skeens.
I enjoyed watching Livy pick the picks a little bit better, but
I'm going with Skeens. He was the best ball player on campus today.
It's the closest thing to greatness we had.
Yeah, it's just this one was tough, gang. 42-13, Alabama wins it. We're back to wrap it up. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
At Luba Workers' Comp,
Our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Eagle 98.1.
Been a long day, and not a particularly good one where the football was concerned. Rich, this one, you took some tough losses, when you were here. What's the room like tomorrow? What are they walking into? Because
it's soul searching. I mean, this is one you got to figure out. Like, we're not who we thought we are, but who can we be? I mean, these guys got to go back in and reestablish who this team needs to be.
We'll see. Again, the big goals are pretty much off the board. So this is about pride. This is about what's next.
I hate to say it becomes a little bit selfish. It's like, I got to put the best film going forward.
Yeah, either for this team next year or for your professional prospects. I get it. 42-13. This was gonna stink all week. For Richard, for Musso, for Jordan, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good evening. Football Sunday tomorrow at 10 a.m. Please join us then. Till then, good night, everybody.